Is the volume all right?
Yes.
No. Speak more loudly. Louder. Okay. Is that better now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if the mic's turned on.
I just have to take it out of my time. Now is it better? We're kind of improvising here. This is. And please, just if you can't hear me, just raise your hand. First, you might want to stand right. Well, I'm speaking on behalf. First of all, everybody is welcome. And I'm speaking on behalf of the organizing committee. It's quite an intrepid, wonderful group of folks who, out of a great spirit of love and generosity, have done a lot of planning and a lot of organizing under, kind of short-term circumstances. To Chris's family and our closest friends, we offer our sympathy and solidarity. It's a terrible loss. In a more perfect world, during that windy day, big, strapping Owen would have been there and would not have gotten knocked over. We can't explain these things, it's beyond us, but there it is. It's very hard. I'm so sorry. We all are. Today, on the edge of Valentine's Day, we honor a woman who believed in and practiced love. She loved her family, she loved her friends, she loved her husband, Owen. She loved her work, she loved her profession. She joined and practiced in a field that is devoted to human services. She loved people. And, we say that a lot of times about folks, but it was genuine with this person. Throughout her working career and in her retirement, she lovingly helped many, many people. Some of you are here today. She was a professor, a role model, a helper, and a mentor to many in the university and in the community. She loved her profession, and out of love, she was an exacting scientist. That's something Tom Chin has received a lot of emails about your sister, about Chris. And one of the things that keeps coming back is, she created my career. She taught me how to be a careful lab worker. She taught me devotion, and not in a heavy-handed way, but in a way mainly through example. She loved and cared for animals. At Callahan Street Elementary School, she was one of the most zealous of the chicken ladies. We know intensely how much she loved her wonderful husband, Owen. Partly we know this because she laughed and smiled at his goofy jokes. And we're all going to miss that smile of hers. Many of us each year have received Valentine's cards that were designed and produced by them, by Owen and Chris. And this memorial today is our Valentine to Chris. To Chris Hamilton Smith, and of course for Owen. In a moment, I want to give you a little sense of the schedule. In a moment, we are going to see a beautiful video tribute to Chris, and by implication to Owen. But let me first briefly tell you about our schedule. As the climax of our time here today, we're going to have outdoors a release of doves. Technically, they're homing pigeons. White-feathered homing pigeons. But they're beautiful, beautiful white-feathered homing pigeons. And I learned something just this last week. You have to do that on time. If it gets too late in the afternoon, they get lost. So we know Chris wouldn't want that. Also outside, there will be a military honor for Owen, which Chris wishes she had done at the previous memorial. And we're going to have a nice statement from one of Chris's former students. There's a time in this printed schedule that talks about kind of ad hoc or spontaneous presentations. We might have to cut that short and do them outside. There will be a PA out there. So if I seem to be moving things along today, I apologize, but it's It's the Doves. I always thought Doves had GPS or something. Turns out they had headlights. So, anyway, God bless you and God remember her and him. Who is a former student of Chris.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me? That was a lovely slide presentation. Can we all? Good afternoon, family, friends, and colleagues. Thank you all for being here today to celebrate the life of someone who is very special to all of us, especially me, my mentor, Dr. Christine Smith. My relationship first started with Dr. Smith in FES 201. I was not her top student, but all of us who were in the Department of Family Environmental Sciences took all of her dietetics classes. During my time at CSUN, which was during the earthquake, and I graduated in 1995, I did my internship in Virginia, where Dr. Smith stayed in touch with me. We established a special bond from the beginning, perhaps because I was very hardworking, which she helped to install in me. Perhaps because I would share with her my long-term goals in becoming a registered dietitian. When I returned from my internship in Virginia, I would call her, hold on, sorry, here. Okay, so when I returned from my internship in Virginia, I called to let her know that I returned back from Los Angeles. She invited me over to her home and offered to help prepare me for the RD examination. After I passed the RD exam and I had my first job at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, I then started my private practice 16 years ago, and I would call her weekly. When I would call her weekly, she and Owen would be very excited to hear about my week at work. I would give them updates, and prior to that, I would be hearing about the soup that she was making, hear about the trips that they were planning, and Owen would give me a very detailed report on the movies that they saw each week. As I was getting more established at my job at the hospital, I would call Dr. Smith with different clinical questions, and she would love that, and she would ask me to hold on. I would hear her trotting along, and she would say, hold on, I'm going to look up such and such in Krauss edition, whichever, or some other book, and she loved the challenge of whatever clinical question I would be asking her. Part of our relationship was turning into her waiting for me to call her with whatever clinical question or some type of drug-nutrient interaction based on the book that she was co-editor of that was not in the latest edition. When I started my private practice 16 years ago, Dr. Smith was interested in the different types of clients that I've been working with. She always had valuable input up until the very end of her life. She always loved discussing the latest trends in nutrition with me, and she would ask me, Robin, do you have my notes from 307? Do you have my notes? 407? And up until this very day, I would say, yes, they are filed in my office. Don't worry, I will always keep those notes. In our last several years of our relationship, she asked me to call her Chris. I said, I can't call you Chris. You're Dr. Smith to me. I wouldn't be who I am professionally today if it was not for you. She said, you're my friend. Please stop calling me Dr. Smith once and for all. Your family calls me Dr. Smith, even at their annual Hanukkah brunch. I need you to call me Chris. And it was only up until these last few months, Dee gave me the confidence that I could call her Chris. Chris, thank you for all the no-nonsense nutrition information you provided me with after all these years, as well as everyone in this audience. I'm happy that you are with Owen and all your kiddies, as well as making soup in heaven, as well as educating everybody up above. Thank you for being my cheerleader and my mentor. I'll always love you and miss you.
Thank you, Mike. Old family friend.
Yes, indeed. Oh, my.
Long time family friend.
Long Chris would go, why? She never liked big hullabaloos, so this would be something very, very special to her. This is all still too unreal to me. I knew this special lady for over 51 years. And as many of you knew her as Dr. Christine Smith, I knew her simply as Chris. We met in the fall of 1992, shortly after I enrolled in Valley State and was a drama student. And I was discovering my way around the theater department and came across the costume lab. And there, sitting behind the sewing machine, was a really cute gal that I later found out was Christine Hamilton. I didn't know at the time that she and I would become such good friends. For a lifetime. The costume lab was the area in the drama department where all the costumes were made for all these campus shows. And during tech week, she would sometimes put in 10 to 12 hours a day, along with others, to make sure that all the costumes were made correctly. It was during that time, I recall that because of the hours she spent, the campus police became her good friends because they would make sure that she got home okay because she'd be working into 3 hours. At that time, she was living in a home ec home. I don't even know if it's still there. But it was in an isolated part of campus, surrounded by orange groves. Some of you may have not recall that. Chris had such a welcoming smile and a winning, innocent way about her. And it was through working in the costume lab that she met Owen, who was working in the scene department at that time. And we all know the rest, as they say, is history. I remember she worked hard in the department, and she worked hard at everything she did. I had the honor of knowing the very studious Christine Hamilton, but also the fun-loving Chris, too. We all knew that while working in the costume lab, I've already covered that. It was my pleasure to hang out with both Chris and Owen. They had truly an everlasting love for each other. And in the early years of the relationship, they shared a love of beer. Not only at the Hobnobs, but at their home. They could down a case or more of beer between them in an evening and be totally unfazed. Chris was always well respected by her peers, the faculty she studied under, and her students. Chris would tell me about her experiments with rats and mice and guinea pigs. She worked really hard to get her bachelor's degree and then her master's and finally her doctorate. I was there to cheer her on for each of those graduations as well as attending her wedding with Owen Smith, her love. I recall one day, Chris and I were having lunch in the student union, and Chris said something extremely funny that caught me off guard. I was drinking milk at the time that wound up spewing through my nose. I don't recall what the joke was, but I don't think I ever had that happen again to me. Chris and Owen were more than just friends, they were family to me. We spent many a holiday, lots of dinners, movies, etc. over the years. I vicariously enjoyed their travels and adventures to faraway places. I even got a kick about their getting stuck in China because their visas had expired. I couldn't believe when Chris told me about her and Owen volunteering to do stakeouts as Crime Stoppers. Chris and Owen. Crime Stoppers. And anyhow, I think they had way too much time on their hands. When I last saw Chris in person was shortly before Owen passed. We went for Mexican food at one of her favorite places, the El Presidente on Devonshire. Chris ordered her favorite drink, the margarita. And we talked about what was happening, about Owen, what the future might bring. I had no idea what a few weeks would bring. And now our lives would change. Over the years, we talked and laughed about so many things. One could say Chris and Owen had such full lives, but to me, they had lots more life to fill. Both are gone too soon. There's so much to remember. Thank goodness I will continue to remember and miss both of them and their friendship and their love. I look forward to laughing with them again at some point, and I'll bring the beer.
I'm glad to be here. And, I'm the oldest of 3 kids in our family, and I'm the one that's survived, so I'm kind of in a unique position. And I'll have to talk to Chris, and I know Chris had delighted at times to tell people she was raised in the oil fields. And so I've got to add a little bit to that. We were raised in the Salt Creek oil fields in the center of Wyoming, 35 square miles of oil field. But one of the biggest light oil fields in the world at one time. And it started drilling in 1895, and it's still producing oil right now, today. But at the time when we were there, it was a company town. And everything was that way. And I actually was even born in the company hospital, because the time Christine arrived, the company hospital was closed down, and Opal Adams, a nurse that lived two doors down from us, is the one that brought Christine into the world. And I always remember that day. We attended high school, or attended school. The school district there consisted of the oil field town, Midwest, which was small, and the town of Casper, which is a larger town. That was the school district. And we went to school, started school at Midwest, and we never knew how good a school we went to. I look at it in reflection now. But at that time frame, that school district was one of the richest in the country. And that was reflected in the buildings, and it was reflected in what they were paying teachers. And that was one of the reasons that our mother ended up in the Salt Creek fields, because it was really in the boondocks in those early days. And she met my dad there, which started right after World War I in the construction of the field. After our dad died in 1950, we moved to Casper. And one of the things that both our parents had always preached to us, and if you'd asked any of us, probably by the time we were in second and third grade, we would have told we were going to college. Is that what we were told? It was that. And after my dad died, Mother never changed the story. And part of it was much more restricted life when we were in Casper. Mother went back to teaching school, and we went then to the Trona County High School, and Casper was a refinery town, so they were a little bit more dignified than the oil field. And to give you an idea of the kind of high school we went to, the Trona County High School was $1 million high school built in 1925. And boy, I'll tell you, it was a nice high school even when we graduated. And it's still a very nice high school, still part of the best school in the town of Casper. And you had the teachers to match. Boy, I look back on the teachers I had in high school, and there was supreme set you up. Boy, they really set you up to go to college. So just no two ways about it. And part of it was because of the salaries they were paying the teachers. And that had a lot to do with it. While we were in Casper, and I have to talk about Christine and give a little background. My mother's, our grandfather was a tailor. So my mother had acquired a lot of skills as a kid, sewing. And I remember during World War II, they took and almost gave the awards in school for wearing patched clothes. That was just part of the thing. And we three had some of the best patched clothes. But my mother also told Christine she could use a sewing machine anytime she wanted to. And when we went into Casper, she joined the 4-H, and she sewed, and she wanted more stuff at the county fair than you can shake a stick at when you're sewing. And one thing my mother told her when she was in high school was that if she was going to go to a formal dance, my mother was not going to buy a formal. She said, but I'll buy you all the cloth you want, and you can make a formal. And Christine had probably some of the best formals that you'd ever seen. And again, it was sewing, and you can equate to that because that's where she met Owens, sewing. And after high school, and I was at the university when Christine finished high school, and I don't remember, but she ended up going to the University of Arizona, or Arizona State, I'm not sure which, but she was there 2 or 3 years. But I was all that time at Laramie. I remember she was majoring in math and physics, if you can imagine that, and she was doing real well. And that kind of come out of the oil field background. The oil field was just loaded with practical engineering people, and the ones with engineering degrees were trained in the oil fields. The Salt Creek field was where they trained them. And they used to come in and they used to have to work at Rostavel's for a year before they'd even let them in the office. And that was kind of the background she came out of, and both myself and our brother are engineers. And so when she went to college, she kind of ended up in that end of it. When she started college, she didn't quite know what she wanted to do. And after about 2 or 3 years of that, she didn't like that as a major. And that's when she left in Arizona, and she went home to Casper for a little while, and then she came to California. We had an Aunt Margaret that lived here, and that's where she worked at law, and then where she started school here in Home Ec. That's how she ended up there. And but she had a good background in math and physics as well as the home ec. And you talk about, she didn't like much flurry about herself, and I never knew. I knew she was very successful, but she was always pushing us, come and visit, and we'll go. And then at the time when she came here, I was working for Lockheed in Burbank, and we attended her wedding while I was working here. And I met Owen for the first time out in that home ec house. All remember that. She said, well, Owen's here. And I said, well, where is he? And I thought, I'll come in over there. She says, he's sitting in the living room in there meditating. So I went in and introduced myself to Owen. Christine never told me much about what she was. I knew she was teaching as a college professor, but she never said much about that. She always had some great big campaign. We could never sit still when we come to visit her. We either went down to San Pedro, or we'd go down to San Diego. She's something we had to see, or we'd go up north to see the walruses. It was always something to it. That was what we're doing. And when I read the things that she had done as a professor here, it was unbelievable to me, because she never said a word to me. And I guess that's about what I got to say. But that was, a lot of that I still attribute to coming out of the oil field. That oil field was a good education, and from our parents. They had parents' background, but in fact didn't bother them to go out in the boondocks where they were in the oil fields. And we didn't know it was the boondocks at the time. They did. So anyway, that's.
Now we have a musical interval with Veronica Jovic. Jovic?
Very good.
Good, thank you, Veronica. And her accompanist, Joe. Thank you.
When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I'll dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough, and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lean it on like
Tom Shim, a dear friend of Chris's.
Thank you, Pat. I'm Tom Chen. But I want to apologize to you all. I'm not going to talk to you. I want to talk to Chris. So, excuse me. Hi, Chris. It's been, what, 66 days since we were sitting in Starbucks chatting. And it was a kind of a normal chatting. You chatted for 2 hours. I listened 2 hours. It's really kind of weird that over 2 months, no email from you, no phone call, no power lunch. I don't know what's going on. I miss you. You play such an important role in my life. I haven't really done much in return. Yes, Chris, 恭喜发财 to you too. That's the only Chinese you ever learned. But my goodness, you know, the Chinese zodiac, I looked it up and told Chris, you know, you were born in the year of tiger. That means you love cats. No, that's very appropriate. But in the last 10 years, I looking over the zodiac, looking for if there was a year of chicken. Those things change. But in the case, I often wonder, Chris, why you and I really clicked. We are such two different people. You are so old-fashioned, traditional, stick to appropriateness, doing things, while I'm a kind of easygoing, casual, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. But somehow, we just got together and we did so much together. Well, there are so many people today. They were co-president of SDFC. They were involved in all of our life. And I'm sure now you're looking down, you will see Georgia, all the way from Seattle, Sally, all the way from Berkeley. And remember our first meeting with Phil Magrum? And Phil is here. Everyone wants to have another day with you. But looking back, you know, technologically, you were way behind. I remember in the 70s when we all adapted Xerox copy. You were sticking to Ditto machine. And you know, in the classroom, I started using overhead projector. And you were writing on the board. I adopted a PowerPoint presentation. You wrote on the board. But you know, I really admire how can anyone write so neat and so much put on every time, every board that is available in a classroom. I never could have done that. You are just amazing. And your English, my goodness, it's so superb. In all these years, without you by my side, I don't have this professional development achievements, because English is my second language, maybe third. I remember how much you taught me. Yes, there was one day I put on my good tie and nice suit, and I forgot what event it was, but you look at me, you said, "Tom, you dressed to kill." I said, "What?" Calm down. It's American idiom, you know. American culture have so many things. We love to use abbreviations, acronym, like NASA, you know what I mean? I said, no. ADA, no, I don't know any of it. So she taught me all this, how to short things. Then she told me, Valentine's Day is coming. I said, what Valentine's Day? She said, well, that's an important day. Love. I said, oh, now that's good. We want to have a nice day to love. So I picked up a nice card and I scribbled on it and sent to her. Next day, she looked at me, she said, Tom, I said, no. You do not write Happy VD. I said, well, what's wrong with that? She went on to explain what VD. I learned so much from her. But after that, I was busy looking up the calendar. Is there a St. Thomas Day? Santa Teresa Day? Happy STD maybe worse. Oh boy, there's so much memory I share with you, Chris. And I don't know when our next meeting will be, but wherever you are, Chris and Owen, happy VD.
Both Owen and Chris, through a great mutual friend, Dick Falk, over beer in a Chinese restaurant. I was about 18 years old, it feels like then. Annette Besnillian?
Trying to figure out if you have
I think
time.
we are going to clip because we don't want to miss the doves.
Okay.
But
So I will share my 2 minutes with the poem I wrote. It's called My Mentor, A True Valentine. If I could write a Valentine story, it would be the greatest ever told, of a kind and loving mentor friend who had a heart of gold. She loved Valentine's Day because she was all about love, the love for her family, friends, students, and the profession that she thought a world of. I first met her when I was a student, as my first advisor taught me about being a true professional and showed me the way. She even told me to marry my current husband, and that would make beautiful children. That's how we have 4 children today. As I became a professional, I would call her for advice throughout the years. She would listen and with her tender, loving voice say, "Don't worry, it will all be okay." She loved meeting at Starbucks and enjoyed the mocha frappuccinos. She loved being updated on all the news, and she would share what she had learned and share her views. She was a part of many committees and boards, and when asked, she would not refuse. She would provide valuable feedback and share her experience and her wisdom with us to use. She taught all her students the meaning of hard work, ethics, loyalty, perfection, and passion. Her standards were high. Giving up was not an option. Oh, the way she inspired us, the touching words that she said. She helped guided so many students, helped them believe in themselves. She always saw the good in others and what they can do. She showed how much she loved her profession and cared about her students' success and performance too. Dr. Smith, as she liked me to call her, our special Valentine. Knowing you has been a precious gift, a gift that we'll always treasure. A teacher, a mentor, a friend, and a colleague. You gave us so much, it's hard to measure. You taught us so much about true meaning of true love by being you, a true Valentine. You showed us the strength of your commitment, the genuineness of your friendship, your style, the sincerity, honesty, and loyalty of your purpose, the joy and happiness you brought with your smile. Your beautiful Valentine's story does not end ever. Will continue and live in our hearts forever. Your life is a legacy of grace, passion, pride, and pleasure. You have left us with a lasting memory our thankful hearts will treasure. I'd like to invite Dean Sylvia.
I did want to take an opportunity to share with you that the College of Health and Human Development is going to proudly display this plaque in the Magrum Center. Chris was the founding member of the advisory board of the Magrum Center at a time in which the faculty, the staff, and the students were working so hard to create the vision and the legacy that exists today. And so we will always remember her when we see her smiling face. I think as you look at those beautiful photographs that were part of the video presentation, I don't think there was a single photograph where she wasn't smiling. And that is the Chris that I hope you will always remember. We will miss her, and my most sincere condolences to her family, her friends, and her colleagues on behalf of the College of Health and Human Development. Thank you all for being here.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Larkin Kingstrom, Mr. Jack Smith, we released the third single dove in honor of Owen, and Mr. and Mrs. Robert and Joyce Hamilton. We released the second single dove in honor of Mr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to perform final military honors for Owen Wayne Smith, Sergeant, United States Army, from 1954 to 1957. He bravely gave his honor to this country and to this college and to this community. It is here so fitting that we give his last and final offering of honors to him. Detail. Hair, color. Ladies and gentlemen, for the rendering of our colors, veterans, military personnel in uniform, please render the hand salute. All others, place your hands over your heart. Present colors!
this flag on behalf of Owen's closest relative, his first cousin. Over the years, Chris and Owen and Owen's cousin, Ted, and his wife traveled and did so many things together, and like many of us women in the recipients of their hospitality, and they were great traveling with him, thoughtful, engaged, and fun. When we stayed at their house, Christine always prepared nutritious, healthy meals for us. Meals that felt good in her stomach. And she was very disciplined about her eating habits. She breakers that never Chris and Owen sparked us, got us to do more than the rest would ever done on our own. It was such a blessing. And now these two people in our lives, their passing is a real loss for us. We will miss them so much. My father used to say, if one person teaches you a word, you have to be thankful for a lifetime. I have been fortunate to have great teachers all throughout my lifetime, and I am thankful to each and every one of them. A friend that was interested in my well-being and was looking forward to hearing about my accomplishments in life. We would share our stories over long phone calls. I remember when I started Hygiea Weight Loss and Nutrition, she was so eager to motivate me to push through and would get excited for my successes. She loved the field of nutrition and was happy that I was able to work in this field helping. I would learn not only from her academic teachings, but her warmth when we talked about Garfield funds. As John Steinbeck has said, I have come to believe that a great
years. I want to thank you all for coming. My history with Christine was she was my teacher, my colleague, and my friend. And actually, when it came time to do the upper division writing exam as a grad student, we had to write about our favorite, most influential teacher. And she was the one that I wrote about, and I aced the exam. It was really easy to do. So again, I want to tell you that having you here has been a slice. Some of you may know that as a pet expression of Christine. And the fact that you were here shows your love for her. You better believe it. There's something else that you always would say. And at this time, I'd like to invite you into the food lab area, the conference area, where there are some snacks for you, some materials spread around for memories of Christine, and to take some time to share your love of Christine with one another. And we can bring the microphone in if some would like to speak publicly or privately, however you would like. So if you can move and sort of walk.
Thank you.